Alright guys, this video is going to be kind of all over the place, just a channel update of sorts. I've been struggling to get my Glock 20 10mm to run the 220 grain hard cast bullets from either Underwood or Buffalo Boore, and I've done a lot of work to the gun. It has a lone wolf barrel in it. I've replaced the guide rod and the spring, the recoil spring, with a heavier spring. I'm running a 20-pound spring in it now. You know, I have a flared mag well, it's weighted. I have a bunch of modifications to the gun, and let's just say I'm very disappointed. So as of right now, I'm reverting back to a cheap Taurus 44 Magnum revolver for going on hikes and stuff in dangerous game territory, including hogs and bears and mountain lions. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this. Previously, I have tested it with the HSM Grizzly 300 grain, and I've had no issues with this gun. But today I'm going to test it with the Buffalo Boore 305 grain at 1325 feet per second, and the Underwood Extreme Penetrators, that's a 220 grain at 1530 feet per second. I can show you those right quick so you can see. I have them here on a little cheap speed loader. Not that I'm going to be doing any speedy reloads during a dangerous game attack or anything. I just wanted you guys to see it and make sure the gun was safe while I was talking. So anyway, so I have that I want to do. We're going to do that on camera. I'm going to test these rounds through it. I have about 50 rounds, I think, of the HSM Grizzly 300 grain, but I do want to check these hotter rounds out to make sure that there's no sticking of the cylinder or any major malfunctions. I've seen some of these cheaper revolvers where the front sight will just come off of the gun. So we're going to make sure that none of that happens. I also want to talk to you about something real quick before we get started that's on a maybe slightly less serious note than dangerous game. So like I told you, this video is going to be kind of all over the place, but I did want to kind of just see if any of you guys have heard of this. So this is Chasing American Monsters, and I'm reading this just out of pure curiosity. I'm not going to go throughout this entire book with you guys because some of this stuff has things you've heard of before. One such thing is like the Wampas Cat. But this is in Alabama, something I wanted to go over with you guys. And I've never heard of this. It's called the White Thang, T-H-A-N-G. Reports of the White Thang date back to the 1930s, and reports of the monster vary. It has been described as everything from a dog to a Bigfoot to a ghost. But two things are constant: the monster's long white hair and its scream. In the book Legends and Lore of Birmingham by Beverly Crider, George Norris, an eyewitness in the 40s, saw the monster and, quote, "It looked like a lion, you know, bushy betwixt a dog and a lion. It was white and slick with long hair. It had a slick tail. Down on the end of the tail, a big old bush of hair." In the 30s, the monster was said to run on all fours, even climbing trees to wait for people to walk beneath it. In later decades, it has been described as upright and at least 7 feet tall. Although witnesses say they can't make out any detail of the monster, like hands or facial features, but it's not the beast's appearance or behavior that causes fright. People who've encountered the White Thang say it's non-threatening. The monster's scream is what shatters people's spirits. The shriek, like a woman or a baby crying, not only barks in the woods at night. Witnesses have heard the sound come from the hulking white-haired monster as it loomed over them and screeched into their face. There's no illustration of the White Thang in here, but it does show the Wampas Cat, which I feel like is very similar. I feel like this is well, there's a big bullfrog that just jumped behind me. I do feel like this is just a variation of the Wampas Cat legend, which is a Native American legend, to my understanding anyway. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is just a misidentification of a mountain lion or something like that? That's what I'm thinking. It's a large cat. Now, as far as the eyewitnesses saying it's 7 feet tall, I think you know, in my mind, that's just something completely different. Maybe a black bear, or I don't know if black bears get that tall. Just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on that. The white thing. All right, so we're gonna go on to something else here, the fun part. I am gonna be loading up this Taurustracker, which is still unloaded. Didn't magically load itself. And we're gonna be trying out this ammo, like I said. Got these extreme penetrators, and we have these very large hard cast bullets from Buffalo Boore. All right, guys, so I am well aware that even if we don't have a catastrophic malfunction here, this is gonna hurt. I think the last time I shot the HSM, which is a little bit weaker than these loads, my hand bled. I caught a lot of shit on the internet for my hand bleeding after shooting 50 rounds of bear rounds, but you know, whatever. Here we go. So I'm gonna alternate these. First up is going to be Buffalo Boore. That's gonna be that 305 grain, double action only today. Oh, you know what, guys? I almost made a big oopsie. I need my ear protection. All right, guys, I am back. I almost made a major oopsie and didn't have my ear protection on, which would have been hilarious for you guys, but not so fun for me. There's probably something else I wanted to add, but that's good for now. Let's just get this going, get this ADD break in. So it's gonna be Buffalo Boore and then Underwood. Here we go. All right, checking the gun out, making sure there's no major malfunctions. The front sight is still on, so that's good. Cylinder still got the same amount of lockup. All right, here we go, Underwood. Man, you know what? I feel like the Underwood actually, I know it's going faster, but I feel like the Underwood kicked harder than the Buffalo Boore. That's Buffalo Boore again. Underwood. And I think that should be it. I'm not counting rounds. Yep. I don't know if I flinched at the end, but you guys can tell me if I flinched or not. And there we go. Let's see how they eject, because that could be an issue if you are planning on reloading. I am not. If I can't get it done in 5 rounds of this, then I'm probably dead. So a little bit of stickiness, nothing too crazy, nothing crazy, like extremely crazy. No cracked casings. Let's check the ones on the ground, make sure there's no cracked casings. No cracked casings, and I am not bleeding. So that is always a plus. I'm so glad I remembered my hearing protection, because even with this on, that shit is loud. One more ADD break real quick. I just wanted to also mention a shout out to the Mora 546 stainless craft line series. This, not because I'm being sponsored or because I think it's the greatest knife on the planet, but if you guys are just camping and you're not like pretending to be Bear Grylls or Les Stroud or somebody, these are very cheap and good knives. They're like 12, you can find them anywhere from like 12 to 15-ish bucks, which is a little bit more expensive than they used to be because of inflation and whatnot. But I think this one right here cost me like 13 bucks. You get a couple Ranger bands and you buy a little $2 or $3 ferro rod, and you can attach all that right there on your hip. And if you lose it, no big deal. You're not in a survival situation, you're just camping, and it's easily replaceable. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Just to recap, we went over American monsters. The white thing from Alabama could be a cougar, could be a bear, could be something supernatural, I'm not sure, or just some creature we haven't identified since the 40s. And then the Taurustracker, I mean, it is unloaded, just so you guys know. I'm not planning on shooting any more of that expensive ammo. But that's the Taurustracker 44. I think I got it for like 600 bucks. Viable, reliable option. Just make sure you run some rounds through it. Total rounds, I have 300 maybe, 300 plus rounds. A lot of that's going to be like the cheaper hollow points and stuff, and target loads. But I have 50 rounds of that HSM Grizzly, and then those 5 rounds of pretty hot ammo right there. And I've had 0 malfunctions with this thing. save a few sticky chambers after shooting the hotter ammo. So I'm pretty happy with the tracker. The problem is it does not have a rail system. So you will be holding a flashlight if you have to operate this thing at nighttime, which is a major downside. It's not ideal to have a flashlight in one hand and a 44 Magnum with Bear rounds in the other hand. But, you know, I am still hoping to fix my Glock 20. I don't really know what's going to happen. Those 200 grain Underwoods that I have coming in are coated with a slick coating. Maybe that'll help them feed, because it's really a feeding issue. I'm not really sure what's going on there. It's something with the feed ramp and the shape of that flat nose. I'm sure of it. Maybe the slightly smaller 200 grain will fare better than the 220, and maybe it won't. I have no idea. But I also have some of those HSM flat nose coming in too, so we'll see. I'm confident with running a 200 grain hard cast. Anything less than that though, I might as well just run a completely different gun. So I'm debating. If I can't get that to work, I don't know what I'll do. I may try to invest in another barrel. I may sell my particular 10 millimeter and try to find another one that feeds the 220 grain reliably. But that's it. That's a channel update. That's what I've been up to. I've been working a lot, traveling a lot. I'm always on the road. So I figured I would stop, slow down, talk to you about a book I've been skimming through. I hadn't heard of the White Thang, before in Alabama. I thought that was pretty cool. And there's been a lot of mysterious reports about cryptids lately, I feel like. And I think a large majority of those are just people are just getting out into the wilderness who maybe didn't have that much experience before and are maybe misidentifying animals. But I can't speak for the people in the 30s and the 40s, because I feel like those people were a lot more rugged than we are today, and they most certainly would well, I would say they would most certainly be better at identifying animals than the modern human. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I might go over some more cryptids or animals in this book, and I'll give you an update. I'm going to continue to test this Taurustracker while I'm working on my 10 millimeter. And I'll give you an update. If it fails, it fails. I'm not going to hide that from you guys, but I have been pleasantly surprised with Taurus. It's not American made, but it's working. I mean, neither is my 10 millimeter. That's made in Austria. So that's neither here nor there. If it works, it works. That's all I care about. All right, you guys, take care. Thanks for watching, and I'm sorry this has been one big ADD adventure. This is just what I've been up to. I'm going to put this Mora knife, this 546 to work, start a little fire out here, and just relax from my last day off before a long 8-day stretch of work. Take care, guys.